Hello and welcome to the trade setup. In this video we are looking at silver. It is time for another update, and on this chart we have been tracking throughout this movement from the 2020 area this idea of a diagonal structure for quite some time already, and we have here basically a 1, 2 and a wave 3 that would be currently still unfolding, where within this wave 3 we are looking at an A, B, C structure, of course, since it is a diagonal structure. And within this wave C itself, we are looking, of course, for a 5-wave pattern, but this 5-wave structure is a diagonal pattern as well, which is forcing us to once again look for an A, B, C structure within this movement to the upside as a wave 3. And to be clear, we would have been able to actually even look for an impulse on this chart if we hadn't pushed this dip in this large drop, this large retracement, yeah? Now, since this happened, we cannot really control it. We have been tracking the area of a diagonal structure where we currently would have just stopped within the wave 3 of the larger wave C to the upside in our primary expectation. Now, of course, this wave 3, nothing is stopping it from extending even higher in an A, B, C structure, but it's not necessarily a strong preference for us at the moment. Again, completely possible, but regardless, we would still be looking for continuation to higher prices within a wave 5, if not within the idea of a wave C within this as a larger wave 3 to the upside. So currently, I'm watching here the 61.8% retracement. We have even had a drop below it, but nothing substantial, nothing sustained that would strongly indicate this scenario, this structure, to have failed to follow through its expectations. So we have had a very quick recovery, and we have a 3-wave correction, where afterwards we have been looking for an A, B, C structure to unfold in this wave 5 to the upside. Once again, since this is an ending diagonal within a wave C we are tracking, and initially we were looking even for a 5-wave move to potentially occur within the initial wave A to the upside, but that has failed, and we are now only looking at this to have been an A, B, C structure, a very nice one nonetheless. We did provide a trade setup for this region, and we are now looking for the larger A, B, C structure to take us to higher prices. And most recently, we have had a reset of this wave B bottom, and this actually happened today, but we still have an area of support to track this continuation to higher prices within a wave C. In the smaller time frame, we did highlight that this isn't necessarily a very high probability trade setup from this time frame perspective at the very least, because we are still very deep within the large area of support, and we have just an additional support zone that basically extends as low as the larger area of support, so basically down to $70. We can still track with some degree of reliability a wave C to take us to higher prices, and within this structure we have been actually favoring to get a reset, as since we formed this initial low, yeah, we even considered a possible wave B bottom, but since we formed this initial low in a 3-wave correction, which would have been sufficient, we unfortunately only formed a 3-wave move to the upside. This wasn't going to provide us a high probability trade setup. This wasn't going to provide us a strong indication that a breakout would be occurring, and we were on the fence, yeah? We had no strong indication the structure was going to extend in one direction or the other, and we had a relevant area of resistance to track for a potential extension to lower prices. And to be clear, this would have been possible to also track as a 5-wave move to the downside. It just wasn't necessary, so we didn't highlight that as much. But we were looking for this to extend to higher prices against $92, still very likely within a wave B correction, where a wave C would have still been able to take us very, very easily to lower prices. And in the previous video, we did even provide here the ideal target for the wave C, which ideally is still ongoing at $72.8. Now, to be clear, we do not need to reach that level. It is just the ideal target, and we are able to get a breakout even from the current prices, since once again we have fulfilled the minimum expectations. And to be clear, this structure doesn't even need to build an entire wave C to the downside. This overall wave B in yellow could just as well be formed by a WXY pattern, in which case we could even consider a bottom to be in place at this point. Now, The truth is, in the previous video, we did have an internal area of support and we did get some strong indications along this extension to lower prices that we would be able to generate an extension. Yeah, we did react very nicely to several of these levels of support. So most notably here, the 50% retracement did provide strong support and created a struggle to extend to lower prices, even created a reaction. Then we pushed perfectly into the 61.8% retracement since the previous video. Another reaction, then the 78.6% retracement, perfectly another reaction. Now, clearly we have broken the level of support, which was our indication that this structure would strongly favor a direct descent in the white interpretation in the next wave to the downside. And already, yes, we have the break and we have the additional low. So now we need to focus on the next levels of resistance and the next levels of support to track for the current structure. So we don't really need this latest expectation to be followed. We already have our answer, and we are looking actually at a couple of options of how this wave C could still take us to lower prices. But once again, to be fully transparent and clear, this structure is able to have a bottom in place. Now, as I was saying, we have a few options. We can track this to have been a wave 1 down. We can track this to have been a wave 1 down. Ultimately, we need to focus on the entire area of resistance and as deep as it could go, because we would want to see a strong indication that a breakout is going to occur. And I cannot really look for anything beyond a larger ABC structure that could still take place within this area. It is certainly a very difficult pattern and correction we are witnessing here. And of course, if I see a more clearly defined 5-wave structure to the downside, I will be looking for a potential bottom and a reversal. In fact, I am already looking for a potential bottom and a reversal. We are still within our area of support, and once again, we have fulfilled our minimum expectations. But as of now, we do not see strong evidence, and for that, for the strong signal, I would need to see one of two things happen. We either break here the 78.6% retracement, which extends all the way up to the $87 level, or we form an initial 5-wave move to the upside within this area. If both outcomes follow through, we would have actually a very strong indication, but even if we only form a 5-wave move to the upside, I would already be quite interested in a follow-up wave 2 correction that could provide a very, very interesting area of support and basically an opportunity for us to look for a trade setup within this area, as we would have very clearly defined levels of support where we know where the probabilities shift, and we would know that this is actually a good indication that we would see at the very least another 5-wave move to the upside, if not more. Now, at this point, we don't really care about the larger area of resistance anymore. If we break through this internal area of resistance, we can focus more on that then. But currently, yes, we will track here in orange, let's say, this idea of a larger A, B, C structure that could take us to lower prices within a larger WXY pattern. And within the white interpretation, I would provide you two areas of resistance actually, and I will highlight and only leave one of them on the chart. But basically, I would focus on the possibility of having here a 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Yeah, this structure actually works out very nicely. If we look for the extensions, we would notice that we have reached the ideal target within a wave 3, but only one issue really remains here, and that is I would see it very easily able to extend in this wave 3 in this idea of a diagonal structure in a larger A, B, C pattern itself. Now, we don't need to focus too much on the internal levels of resistance. I can tell you there are interpretations that would allow this price movement to already be within the resistance area. Yeah, it is perfectly able to extend to lower prices directly within multiple interpretations, including the count we have here on the chart. But what I would focus on is actually an internal 78.6% retracement up to $85 that would allow me to track an extension within a wave 3 in this area, as I believe it is still very much capable of such a development. And without overcounting, without overthinking the structure, yes, these are the levels of resistance we can track for the most practical purposes. Once again, it is possible to see other interpretations, to see other counts, but the truth is, within this time frame, we would need to see a more reliable structure to have a better indication, and we would need to see a break above the resistance levels for an additional signal that a bottom would be in place. And I would rank the structure on the top. That would be the most important if we manage to build a reliable one, meaning an initial 5-wave move to the upside. And then I would rank breaking the levels of resistance secondary, as the larger time frame structure isn't giving us a strong indication that we would see lower prices. So for now, unfortunately, we only have what seems to be a 3-wave pattern to the upside here within the smaller time frame. I would be looking for the ideal target for a potential wave 3 to see if we are able to look for a wave 4 correction, but that has not yet been achieved. In fact, we haven't even gotten to the 123.6% extension, which is already a pretty strong indication that this would work out better as a modest A, B, C structure, where within the wave C, we did even achieve reaching the ideal target. I wouldn't trust this to be a double 1-2-1-2 setup. I would be extremely wary. And of course, further extensions within this movement are entirely possible. We can start the entire uptrend to the upside from this pattern, but there is no edge given to us by the actual structure, by the market sentiment, to actually take advantage and increase our probabilities while defining very clear levels of support to track this continuation to higher prices. And again, don't overthink the exact structure. I will leave this count on the chart where we would like to see a wave 3 extension to lower prices. Currently, ideally, yes, I would like to see even further lows. Other than that, it is technically possible to look for this to have been a much shorter wave 1 and to have here a wave 2 top, and then a wave 3 would be able to be tracked as complete. But even then, we would actually have an extremely similar area of resistance, as we would only be looking for the 61.8% retracement, which, as opposed to the $85 at the 78.6% retracement, would actually sit at $84.7. So as you can see, it is a very, very small difference in terms of the resistance levels we would be tracking for either of these interpretations. And before we end the video, I want to also make it clear that it is possible for the wave 3 bottom to be in place here. But even then, we would actually like to see another low within a wave 4 and a wave 5 in the white structure. Really, only within the interpretation of a WXY pattern would we be able to assume a bottom to be in place currently, in my belief. And for that, I would need to see a break above $87, the orange resistance area, to decrease the likelihood of this structure extending to lower prices. And with the break of the wave B swing high, well, that would be another very strong indication that a bottom would be in place. Not a guarantee. As always, we cannot be certain of anything. We are talking about probabilities here on the market. And for now, I believe I have provided to you the levels to watch, and I believe I have provided to you the information where we have a lack of increased probabilities to extend directly to higher prices. So for now, these are the levels, this is the trade setup. I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, don't forget to leave a like, subscribe, and if you enjoy our content and want to support us directly, check out our channel membership. And as a thank you for any of these actions, I would even invite you to sign up to our channel newsletter, where you get access to our monthly top picks, where we identify for you high quality structures. The link is in the description and it is completely free. Other than that, let me know what else you would like me to cover, and I'll do my best to do that in the days and weeks ahead. And until then, I hope you have a nice day, and I hope to see you in the next video. Bye bye.